Hello traders, welcome to another session for the weekly market overview with me, Pierre from PAFX. I hope that all of you had a great holidays and that the 2018 gonna be another great trading years for all of us. So yeah, it's been a while since I was live, and that was because of course, of the holidays. And now we're back the same time every Sunday, same time every week, and we're gonna do the usual where I do my forecast, and of course the last 5 or 10 minutes there will be time for Q&A if you have any questions or any charts you want me to look at. Let's just get started with the disclaimer, and we will get rolling. So please read this disclaimer and know about the risk involved in forex trading, and that this session I will be only doing this session as a educational only, not in a signal in any way. So it is only the way I see and I trade the market. Yeah. So please read it carefully, and let's get started. We start with the news for the next week, and it's not a heavy news week, as you see. We have business outlook survey for the CAD on Monday. Thursday, nothing major happening. Wednesday, we have manufacturing production for the sterling. It is a major news, but as you know, manufacturing is not as big as the service PMI for the sterling. For the USD, crude oil inventories, of course, for the CAD too. Thursday, we have retail sales for the Aussie months on months, and PPI months on months for USD. And we end Friday with CPI months on months and core CPI retail sales and core retail sales. So Friday gonna be a major day for the US dollar, and we may see some movement. Let's start with the Dixie as usual. So last week we had the NFP last Friday, mixed numbers as expected for the wages, but the NFP numbers was a little bit lower, as you see, 148k, but the average hourly earnings was as expected, and the unemployment rate was 4.1 as expected. So as you see, mixed number, and we didn't really get any real direction yet, and that's start to happening all the time now on NFP. We don't really see the real move during the day itself. So I think this week we're gonna see more about where the market direction gonna be. So if we start with the Dixie on the weekly, you see that we now, after making some higher highs on the weekly after this move to the upside, we had this couple of swing highs, then we broke below back, put another lower low, another lower high, and now we broke below previous low once again on the weekly. So structure wise, if we look on the weekly, we see that actually we do not have a lot before we reach the 91 area, where we do really have the last line of defense before a real waterfall can happen on the dollar. So major level where the Dixie is reaching right now, because of course, as you see, if this 91 level got broken, there is not much left below it structure wise. This is the 200 moving average, and we are looking at the weekly. But if we go to the daily, we're gonna see some other scenarios. So on the daily, the same situation, the neckline is broken. I was expecting, after this break of this neckline, I was expecting that we may see deeper retest than what we had so far. So I was expecting that we at least retest the monthly S1 and probably the level I showed you earlier on the weekly, the 91 area. Now that didn't happen. We had some sideways last week, and the important thing that I'm looking at for now is this double bottom or triple bottom, also many tests at this level, and this bullish divergence on the RSI. It's a major divergence we have there, and last week we had this clear and nice rejection here. So based on that, I think before the dollars keep going lower, if it will do that, we may see the correction happening probably now from this level as a possible retest of the monthly PP or this broken structure here if we look left. So this structure here gonna probably act as resistant. Now, as we saw on the weekly, we steered in a bearish mode on higher time frame, and there is a possibility that we may see a push to the upside from this level based on this divergence on the RSI. Probably a correction back up to retest these levels, and another leg to the downside, maybe break of this level and back down to retest the extreme low here. So textbook, if we want to look at this, we are still in a bearish trend, especially after this head and shoulder scenario here. You see it, shoulder, head, shoulder, neckline broken. There is a possibility that we now see a retest of the 91 area. Very possible. But once again, based on this divergence, we may see some correction higher here, and that we probably may see that happening next week. How deep the correction gonna be, that gonna be very hard to answer. But first level is of course the 92.60 area, and the second level is the monthly R1 and previous structure up here. That would be also this high here, gonna surely act as resistance as well. Okay, let's take a look at gold. And as many of you know, gold did a great move during the second half of December, and it moved very, very fast. We do know that gold have the tendency to move higher during December, especially the second half of it. It do happen around 80% of the time that gold move higher during December month, and the last December was also did happen again. As you see, the move is way overextended. The RSI reached the extreme levels and started heading down a little bit. There is no clear reversal signal yet, but reaching the monthly R1 already is a level to look at. And if we look left, we do have some structure here in this area. So any bearish evidence around the monthly R1, around the 1330 area, could be a possible correction from these highs. At least a correction back down to 1300 would be very legit, and possibly a continuation. But now what we know so far, that we did break this major level. The 1300 was a major resistance level that now got broken, and that we may start also looking for a continuation for the bulls. But of course it need to make some correction, and it depends on how deep that may happen. So if we take our Fibonacci retracement tool, if we pretend that this is gonna be our last high, we don't know yet, but if that is our last high, we could put it here. Otherwise, we should wait and see where our last high gonna be and correct our retracement tool. So if we pretend that the monthly R1 gonna be the last high, then we see that the 38.2 Fibonacci retracement is at that previous structure support down here around the 1300. And if we look more to the left, we see that it was a good resistant level in the past, and it may now act as support. So if we go down to the 4 hour to see some clues, we do have already major divergence ongoing on this time frame, or from this high and this high and this high. You see the RSI is going lower and lower. Yeah, so once again, any bearish evidence around this level up here, 1325 toward 1330, is the area where we should look for a possible reversal and at least a break of a retest of these lows, or even better if we reach back down to the 1300 area. Based on the divergence on the RSI, there is a possibility that we may see that correction lower now. And if we look at the move, it is a very extended move, and it looks really that it needs some correction back down, yeah, before a possible continuation from around this level. Oil, still a very bullish structure. We are trading now around the monthly R1 of this month. If we look at the weekly, you see that we now broke the 200 weekly moving average, and it seems like we almost reached the 62.60, which is an extreme level so far. This is a yearly level. This is the highs from May 2015. So I think there is a market objective to reach that level, and that this level may act as resistant, at least short term, that we may see a possible bounce back down from this level, maybe to retest this structure once again. Because if that got broken, as you see when we look left, structure wise, it is a very empty area, and there will be lots of more to the upside. So very important level now at this 62.60, and we should really keep an eye at that. As you see, the price is almost there. We do have the monthly R1 at that level too. The monthly R2 is just above that, and it is wise to start looking for a possible reversal from this area up here, but that would be a counter trend trading, so you have to be careful with that. As we know, counter trend trading is a little bit harder, but we don't buy toward resistance, so of course we want to be looking for a possible reversal at this level. Any double top scenario with divergence would be good. We do have on the 4 hour a broken low. We do have a couple of lower lows and couple of lower highs, so it's maybe already happening, but nothing clear yet. So yeah, that's what I have to say about oil. Still very bullish structure, but the thing that we are reaching an extreme level like this one here, there is a possibility that we may see at least a correction back down from this area now. AUD-JAPY also reaching a very good resistant level. As you see at this area here, we do have the monthly R1 up here. We do have a structure that act as resisted in the past, and if we look more left, you see that this area here was acting as good support 1, 2, 3 times here. violated by this move here, but then start acting as resistant again, fake out and trade it back below it. So I am really watching this level very closely for next week. RSI is at the extremes. We do have hidden divergence between this high and this high on the price and the RSI. If you look at it like this, you see that the price is much lower than this high, but on the RSI we are trading almost or we are trading higher, as you see here. So we should be looking for bearish evidence around this area, 89.30 ish up here. Any double top scenario or what kind of trigger you have, it's up to your trading plans, is could be useful here. 4 hour we do have some divergence already, as you see, between this high and this high, and on the RSI we are making lower highs instead. So yeah, the divergence on the 4 hour already started. This last candle here could be profit taking, so not a signal yet. I think we may see for next week some movement down, another bounce, that would be great, and making a possible double top, and then we should be looking for any signal up here, or any stop loss hunt, any fake out would be even better. Yeah. Aussie USD also reaching back toward these tops here. I think we do have a possibility for that we may see at least a correction down. The move was very strong to the upside, almost green all the way, one red day only, and Friday was an indecision. RSI also at the extremes. Yeah, it is a good and possible resistant level. If we measure the whole this whole leg from this high back down to this low, you see that we do have the 61.8 also at this as confluence at this structure here. So another confluence. Just above that we do have this month's monthly R1, which used to be a good resistant level. So any bearish evidence around the 0.79 area could be a good reason to try to short it from this level. Of course, any move back down toward the monthly PP to retest these broken structure here would be a very good first target. If we go down to the 4 hour, we see that the divergence is very strong. The price start making divergence already from this high here. If you look here, we was at the extreme on the 4 hour. We kept making higher highs on the price, but the RSI was making lower lows all the way. So this possible wedge here, if that got broken, there is a possibility that we may see a start of a possible reversal here. Yeah, based on good level of structure, Fibonacci 61.8, divergence on the RSI, all that give us a possible hint that we may see some reversal back at this stop up here. Hey Mohammed, Mr. Mohammed, welcome. Euro Aussie, I was expecting this to reach up toward the monthly PP last week before start going lower, but it was in a hurry and did the move already without really reaching this level up here. Now trading back below the 50 moving average. Structure wise, after this head and shoulders that we traded in early December, the price start making lower lows and lower highs, and the structure still the same. And I still think that there is some more room back down to retest this structure down here. There is a possibility for that. The first trouble area could be around this level here, around the monthly S1 and this previous structure, as you see. But the major structure gonna be this level that was tested many times, and seems to be the major structure. And if the price reached this level till that time, I think the 200 daily moving average gonna be also somewhere in this area, and we may start seeing some more divergence on the RSI. It already started, but triple bottom divergence that is even stronger than double bottom divergence. So more room to the downside. Last TP should be down at this structure, and probably start looking for a bounce from this area. Yeah, but for next week, looking for a possible continuation on Euro Aussie. On the 4 hour, you see it clearly. That was this range that got broken. Now we may see another retest. That would be good. If it tests a little bit higher, give us a chance to enter and continue back down. First trouble area, and of course the ultimate target should be down here at this structure looking left. It is a good structure support back down here. Eurochief still crawling up slowly, and still giving us divergence on the RSI. It did not really break this wedge that we were looking at for a couple of months now, and as you see on the weekly, you see the wedge much clearly, and the divergence even stronger on the weekly time frame. So it's almost about time. We did test this month's monthly R1 already, and yeah, based on that, I think there is a possibility that we may see the break now. The only thing that we did not have any break of lower lows. We were talking about this candle as the master of this range. Now this range got broken a little bit, but all of it was followed by rejection, as you see the wicks coming from the upside all the way. So yeah, from here I think we can try to take another short if it gives us any correction back up toward this area. If you're trading the daily pivot point, any correction back up toward the daily R1 would be a good level to sell for next week, in anticipation that we may reach the monthly pivot point and probably even lower. So keep an eye at this structure, the monthly R1 and this previous supply level here. This area up here could be a good level, and that based on this divergence that been ongoing for a while now. EuroJappy were a great performer the last 2 weeks or more. We now broke above this box that we've been trading for a long time. Those of you who've been following me for a while really know that we've been talking about selling the highs, buying the lows until we got a breakout. This breakout did happen now. The price broke above, got accepted at this area, start trading higher, and did reach the 136.62. If we look on the weekly, you see that it is a clear breakout, and if we look left, the next structure resistant would be these highs up here. Now the problem here that we do have, it looks like a stair here. We do have another high close to this high and another high, and that would be almost an extreme level to reach. But structure wise, you see this move is still a bullish move, trading clearly above the 200 moving average on the weekly too. So there is all the reason to think for a possible continuation, but we may want to look for a correction first. RSI on the extreme, the price did reach the monthly R1 already. Now it is a narrow pivot range for this month, so R2 is also possible to be reached. So as for now, Friday we had a rejection day, that's it, and we should be looking for how next week this will act. Did close at the low of previous structure, so not really broken. It could be broken also, but as you see, almost at just above the low of the previous low. Very strong and good candle. Structure wise, it is to the upside. If you are a counter trend trader, of course it is the monthly R1. It is an important level. Could be a possibility that you see a break of previous low on the 4-hour, another retest that could give you a lower high, then you may take the short, but your take profit should and have to be somewhere around the top of the box, cause I think that would be a very, very strong support level now after this break and continuation higher. For a trend continuation trader, of course you want to wait to the price to reach the top of the box or the monthly pivot point down here and start looking for bullish evidence and another bounce to the upside. Daily, you see the RSI is at the extreme. I do not like to trade when the RSI at the I do not like to long and already overbought RSI. The price did move a good extended move. If we measure this extension of this leg, we see we did reach the 1.61, which is happened to be around the monthly R1. So 1.61 extension is a very good move in a very good and extended leg. So there maybe is a reason for the price now to give us that retest or that correction to the downside. So there is opportunities here for both counter trend traders and trend continuation traders. Yeah. Euro New Zealand still looking bearish after the break of this channel. Did break also below the 50 moving daily moving average. It did a try to make a continuation higher, couldn't make a higher high, as you see here, never reached this high. We do have the monthly pivot point at this level. The reversal was very clear on the RSI, because we did really have a very nice hidden divergence. As you see, the RSI was much higher, but the price was putting a much lower low. So this was very easy reversal for those who trade divergence as me. And divergence is one of my favorite things to work with, and I do really talk about that a lot with my student and in my course, because it is a very good tool to use and it helps us a lot to find very good levels to trade from. So before we go down to the 4-hour, I think there is more room to the downside now after we broke previous low on the daily. The price did close below the neckline, and if you are in a short trade, I think you can hold the trade back down toward monthly S1 at least. This area here gonna be a good support level, especially based on this low back down here and the monthly S1. So that would, if you are in a short position, this could be your first take profit, and you want to start looking for if the level gonna hold for another bounce to the upside, or if it's gonna break, then you probably want to enter on the retest and another move lower. But first of all, the monthly S1 is the area you should be looking at for a possible strong support level. Yes, Justin, it does, but now the RSI, as you see, start already making some divergence, and since this neckline gonna act as a strong support, I wouldn't trade it as a head and shoulder yet, but yeah, I do really see what you mean by that. We do have this left shoulder, this head possibly, and I think this, you're talking about this scenario, you would see it much better on the weekly. Shoulder, head, shoulder, and possibly continuation. But there is a room to the downside even on the weekly, but of course we are talking about next week only, so I think for next week we should be looking, if you are in a short position, look for this level for a possible bounce, or if it break, wait for the retest and a continuation back down. So a move toward this area down here is also possible. We may now start seeing a reversal to fill this whole gap to the downside, who knows. EURUSD, well, it did perform very well the last 3 weeks, and as you see, EURUSD went back all the way back up toward previous resistance. It did reach the extreme highs of 2017. The market, even during the last week of the year, used to be slow, but it did really move well. There was not much of news or new fundamentals for this move to the upside, but usually when there is no major news, nothing happening, the market, the EURUSD especially, used to go up for the business cycle and import-export business and stuff like that. So, and it was a thin market. All big banks was on holidays. The rookies was behind desk holding what left of position, so it was easy for the market to move. But we did reach back toward this important resistance level. If we look left on the weekly, you see what we're talking about. It is a major level now. The divergence on the weekly is very, very strong, as you see. Way much lower here when we did have actually almost equal highs. So we have all the reason to start thinking that there is a possibility that we may see another move down from this level, at least short term. Let's say it this way, at least short term, at least a retest toward the monthly pivot point. If that got broken, we may see monthly S1 first, where we do have this low here also. That is also possible correction level without breaking this major trend to the upside. So on the RSI now, we do have some divergence on the daily, but it's much more clear on the 4 hour, the same as we saw on the Dixie. So if you look at this high and this high, and you look at the RSI, we see that the divergence is also very strong here. So for next week, I'm looking for any retest back up. A retest back toward the daily R1 would be great if we got the daily R1 somewhere in this area, and to try to short it based on triple top divergence on the RSI. Of course, intraday target should be previous low and should be the 1.20 as a possible support level, possible psychological level also. And if that got broken, of course, we can start looking for a continuation toward monthly pivot point. Anyway, I'm not buying euro at this level. Now when we are at previous resistance, I will be, of course, only looking to sell it until I see that resistance broken, retested, and then we start talking for a continuation. And if that happened, guys, as you see here, if we got this breakout, then there is a lots of room higher here. It's a total new story, but I still think this major gap down here could need to be filled before. And I'm not talking about the usual gap you see on the weekends. I'm talking about the gap area in the chart. Sterling Aussie, after the break of the channel, it's kept going lower and lower, making lower lows and lower highs, and now we do have the price retesting these last lows down here. Very bearish so far. The only thing we do have is a bullish divergence at the RSI. Could be a possible double bottom, but what I don't like about it, that this double bottom happening in the middle of this range. So if this happened down here, that would be much better for me to think that there is a possibility for a bounce. But looking at the candles, looking at the structure after this major move, a little bit of correction and broke below. Another correction got rejected with a major bearish engulfing candle. The wicks coming from the upside on all candles here. So there is a lots of pressure. So if you are holding a short, I think that there is more room down toward a retest of this structure down here. At least this could be a good level that we may see a possible bounce at, based on previous resistant look. If we look left, this structure here was a good support and resistance structure. If we look more left, you see it was a good very strong resistance earlier. So yeah, if you are holding a short, of course, first of all, you want to see a break of this previous low here, and then if the price reaches this level, this may act as good support level. Even the monthly S1 is also a possibility, when we also gonna have the daily 200 moving average as well. But let's not forget about this possible bullish divergence that started happening already on this double bottom here. So you see it clearly on the 4 hour. This level on the 4 hour is very, very clean and clear here. There was a try here to break and probably a reversal continuation, but then we got this major move back down all the way, and we did stop at this structure. So for a continuation lower, you want to see this 4 hour level got broken before looking for more to the downside yet. And even on the 4 hour, if we look at this divergence, it's also very, very strong. So divergence wise, there is signals that the down move probably is ending, but structure wise we still have lower lows and lower highs. Okay, sterling JAPY. JAPY been the weakest currency the last couple of weeks. All the pair been stronger, and the JAPY now, you see that we are testing the extreme highs of this area. So this box now is really tested the major of it. If we move the box a little bit higher to the previous high up here, a little bit higher, we do have at the monthly R1 around the 154 area. And structure wise, we do not have much until the high of Brexit. Yeah, so looking at it right now, you see that after this high here, we start getting some divergence, but never a clear reversal, just a range bound market. And now we are testing back at the top of the box. If JAPY will keep being so weak, this may continue higher. But since we are testing the extreme highs here, we should be looking for a possible reversal here. At least a retest of the monthly pivot point is a good target to look at. And if that got broken, of course, there is more room to the downside. But if we want to think for a possible trend continuation, since the major trend is clearly to the upside, after we breaking to new highs, after this major range got broken, we start trading in this range. And one can think that we may see something like this happening in continuation. But until you really see a break of this range here on the daily, break above, you see the price got accepted and do a retest and a continuation, I think where the price is right now, we could look for a possible reversal, or at least some correction back down on sterling JAPY. And the same goes for sterling USD. You see that we are retesting the top of this range. We are retesting the extreme highs of 2017, where we do have the monthly R1, and just above that we do have the monthly R2. So there is also a bearish divergence on the RSI, as you see, and on the 4-hour it is more clear what level we are talking about. So after this very nice rejection, I did actually sell the monthly R1, still holding some of the position, took some profit on previous low, and still holding 50% of this position with stop loss at break even. So now I'm looking for a possible, after this correction, now I think it was a 618 correction, yeah, a little bit higher than that. So I'm looking for a possible, after this impulsive move, a correction, and then another leg to the downside, and hopefully reach the monthly pivot point or back down toward these highs, these levels down here. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm looking at for this pair. Hopefully, let's see if we're gonna get that or not for next week. New Zealand CAD. We were talking about this pair in my trading room. After we broke above this structure, we were looking for a retest and a continuation. We had the start of the continuation Wednesday. Thursday was another very good day, but then on Friday we had a very strong employment numbers for the CAD, and as you probably know, and the CAD went crazy and did really very well against all peers. But even though the CAD had a great number, when the pair did reach this structure once again, we got rejected at the monthly pivot point, which acting as good support now, and previous neckline. So as you see here, we had also the 204-hour moving average. Now we broke above these highs. So where the price is testing right now is very interesting area to look at for if this pair gonna continue higher. We want to look for another retest and probably a bounce from here. There is no major news for New Zealand yet, so we don't really have a catalyst for that. And again, the CAD had a great news, but both of them was the New Zealand have been the strongest currency last week, and CAD ended the week very well. So very interesting pair, but I still think this area down here around the monthly pivot point and previous structure and neckline here could hold, and that this reversal after this break now maybe continues higher. Let's wait and see. Yeah, New Zealand USD also reaching a very important level. I think this monthly R1 area and previous supply level, as you see, the price did leave this area very strongly to the upside. There is a possibility that we may see at least some correction from this level. Now this major move to the downside is now broken after this great move here, a retest and a continuation. We are trading back above the daily 200 moving average, so the reversal is clear. But of course, when we do have such a good possible supply, resistant level, monthly R1, RSI on the extreme, of course I'm not looking for a continuation from this high. We will not buy when the price at these highs. We will gladly buy if it does something like this. Then it's of course a good level to buy at. As for now, this is a possible sell level for me, even if it is counter trend. And if we measure the extension of this leg, looking at this low toward this high back down to the lows, you see that we do now have a 1.618 extension already, and just above that the monthly R1 and previous structure resistance. Yeah, and a major hidden divergence between this high down here and this high. If we look at the RSI, we do have a major hidden divergence on the RSI also. So for next week, I would gladly see some kind of blow off top to break above this structure a little bit, make a fake out, go back down. That would be great. Signal to try to see if we're gonna get this reversal back down. First area would be the this structure down here as a good first target. Of course, if that got broken, then we do have this structure down here. Yeah, so that is my scenario for this pair next week. USD CAD, also another great performer. After reaching the high of this range, we got this nice rejection, and since then the price just kept going lower and lower, breaking the previous lows here of this structure. And another pair that did very well last Friday, we did actually break below all these lows as well. Now this is another pair that have a very extended leg, and I have very hard time selling at these levels. Yeah, so I will of course be looking for, I'm not sure if we're gonna see that for next week, but my dream scenario for a sell level, that would be a retest toward the monthly pivot point at this level and previous structure as you see here. That would be great level to sell from for a possible continuation lower. As for now, RSI at the extreme, leg seems to be extended. We are trading just below the monthly S1, which usually a good support level. This month's pivot point, they are very wide, I think. Let's take a look at that and see the difference between last month's and this month's. Yeah, much wider. If you see, if you look at the previous months, we do have R2 up here, S2 down here. This month we do have R2 up here, S2 all the way down here. So it is a much wider pivot range. It is an outside month, and we should be looking at the monthly S1 as a very good support level. So for this reason, I think that this pair may, and if that happen, that we see that USD CAD trade back above the monthly S1, give you a retest, then there is a possibility that we may see at least a retest of this level up here on 4 hour. You see it clearly, but the best level would be up here on a as a daily level to reach the monthly pivot point back again before continuing lower. Yeah. USD JPY, let's get rid of the moving average because it's not respecting the 50 anything, but the 200 seems to be okay, respected a couple of times, respected here and here. So we are trading above the daily 200 moving average. We were talking about this pair in my room last week, and I was saying that we should keep buying the 112. Every time we reach this level, we should keep buying it, and it did work well for this, for last week also. So you see it clearly. We do have this range now. Now we are in the middle of it, so there is a possibility that we keep seeing the pair moving toward the top of the range or back down. So as for now, short term, if we go down to the 4 hour, you see that the next buy level, that would be another retest back down toward these structures down here. I think 112.70, 80 area, somewhere in this level, that would be a good buy level for a retest to these highs, or probably even higher. Yeah. On the 4 hour, you see it, the structure is clear, higher highs, higher lows. We broke previous highs here and here. We did reach this possible supply level now and got rejected last week. So yeah, once again, I think for next week, 112.80 toward 112.50 could be good, good levels to work with, good level to buy from for a possible continuation up. Yeah, and you see a clear range here. Here we have the lows around the 112, and the extreme highs are around 113 and 80, gonna be the resistant level. We do also have the monthly R1 at that 113.80. so this structure up here is a very, very important structure, and the 112, it's also a clear good support level for now. And Bitcoins, because many of you been asking about cryptocurrency, so as for now, I'm gonna add Bitcoins every week. It seems that we do have some structure now that we can work with. We don't have only one move to the upside. So since we do have some more structure to work with, I start liking this chart a bit more. Now we were talking about last time I did my last weekly overview. Someone asked, and we've been talking about the 13K could be a good buy level, and it was really a good buy level. As you see, when the price did reach this area, we got a very nice bounce. So as for now, we did break previous high here on the daily and got rejected back around the these area 17K. Now on the 4-hour you see this possible double top, some divergence, more divergence between this high and these highs, trading back above the 4-hour moving average, 200 moving average. So I think that a retest of this structure down here would be a good level to try along from for Bitcoins, yeah, since we now making these higher highs and higher lows. We broke these highs here, putting a double top. Now there is a possibility that we may see a retest back down and probably a continuation from this level. Okay, but once again guys, there is not much fundamental thinking behind this, because I'm only talking about technical levels, especially for Bitcoin. Yeah, so be aware of that. Structure wise, I see this level as an important level. The next important level is of course back down here around the 13K, and the best buy would be of course back down at 9K, but I don't think we may see that soon. So let's keep working with these levels we do have as for now. 15.5, 13 is also a very good level to work with. And I think that was the last pair. We are back to the Dixie here, as you see. So as usual, a couple of minute questions. If any of you have any questions, please write them in the chat, or if you have any pair you want me to look at, I do have a couple of minutes to do that. And yeah, please don't forget to hit the like button if you did like this session. Feel free to share this session with other traders, and yeah, let me know if you have any question. I will give you about 30 seconds or 1 minute and see if we have any questions. Yeah, I don't see any questions yet. I know that we do have a lagging time about 20 to 30 minutes between me and you, so it seems like there's no questions, and if so, thanks a lot guys. Trade safe, use good risk and money management, and yeah, see you out there over Facebook, Telegram, and for my lovely students, see you in the room later tonight. Bye bye everyone.